Are we live? Let's look. All right, yep. Looks like we are all good. I'll give you guys just a sec to get into the chat room. Somebody say what's up real quick. There we go. What up, NBA YouTube? That means we are good to go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka 233. I am back here today with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for May 24th, 2021. Thank you, as always, for joining me on the podcast. I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, and all of that good stuff. We're going to talk about Raw like we always do, right? I haven't talked wrestling in about a week. I didn't do a Smackdown stream this week. I know. Some of you guys are disappointed by that. And, you know, Smackdown wasn't terrible on Friday. It's just my schedule is hectic. When I tell you guys my schedule is hectic, it is crazy, all right? I got work. I got to make time to sleep. I have to go to the gym. I got all these things going on. It's hard for me to do what I really love, making videos, right? And you guys know YouTube isn't my full-time job, you know. And if one day YouTube could become full-time, that would be awesome. That would be amazing. But it's hard to be a full-time YouTuber. That's why I have so many respect for full-time content creators, because it is tough, especially with, you know, how bad YouTube's copyright system can be. And it's so easy to get your channel terminated these days. It's tough. You know, just for me to make a couple videos a week, man, it's hard. So that's why I wasn't able to do a Smackdown review. I'm just really busy, and I want to do Smackdown reviews because, let's be honest, Smackdown is more enjoyable to talk about than Raw. You have the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns killing it every single week. You have Sasha Banks, my favorite wrestler, right? Even though she hasn't been on the show, you know, since WrestleMania, still, she's on that. We know Sasha's going to come back eventually. She can come back at any week, you know. I like Bianca Belair as much as I don't like the way WWE presents her. And there's a lot of other things. We're freaking getting the Usos versus the Street Profits on Friday. You guys who have been listening to this podcast, who has been the content creator that has been pitching that match for WrestleMania or SummerSlam since the brand split last year? Who has been pitching that match? And we're going to get that match on free TV? And it's not even for the tag titles? Are you kidding me right now? Like, you guys don't understand how badly I wanted to talk about that this weekend. You guys act like I just don't do a Smackdown review because I don't want to. I wanted to talk about it. I've been wanting the Usos versus the Street Profits for weeks now. And we're going to get it. And it's not even on pay-per-view. Like, come on. You know? So, as excited as I am for that match this Friday, I'm kind of disappointed that it's not being built up for a bigger stage when we have fans back, for a pay-per-view, for the damn SmackDown Tag Team Championships. You have the Usos, who are my favorite WWE tag team, right? They've been my favorite tag team for years. It used to be the New Day, but then when the Usos, when they had the original brand split back in 2016, and they debuted the Day One-ish gimmick, right? When they changed up their look, they stopped doing the spray paint and they wore hoodies and all that, and they changed their promos and everything, like Lockdown, because of that Day One-ish, man, and they changed their theme and everything. They became my favorite tag team, and I believe they're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They're in that conversation, right? You also have the Street Profits, who I love. I love the Street Profits. One of my favorite tag teams in WWE today. It's like it would go probably the Usos, New Day, and then the Street Profits. This has the potential to be the best tag team match of the year. That's how hyped I am for this match, and we're getting it on free TV. And as great as the whole Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso storyline is, it's just, it bothers me. It bothers me. And I wish I did a Smackdown review. I wish I had time to do a Smackdown review this weekend to talk about it. But I'm hyped for that match. So I just really wanted to talk about that real quick, right? I'll just say this about Bianca Belair. I'm willing to bet I'll probably mention her again on the Raw review. You know, I didn't care about that 6-woman tag team match. I did like how Bayley was talking crap, and then Bianca just came down to the ring and said, "Oh, you want this title? Come take it." I like that. That's badass right there. You know, not scared of any challenger. Just like, "Oh, you want something? Come get it." Right? Like, you know, kick my ass and you can have this title. So I liked how, you know, Bianca stormed the ring, but I just haven't been the biggest fan of how Bianca's been presented, you know, and it looks like Bianca and Bayley, good chance that probably leads to Hell in a Cell unless Sasha comes back. But in my opinion, Sasha should not be coming back till Money in the Bank. She shouldn't be coming back till we have fans back in attendance. So if you want to do Bianca and Bayley at Hell in a Cell, I don't even know if it's going to be inside Hell in a Cell because we have no idea how many Hell in a Cell matches they're going to be. You know, I'm hearing rumors of Charlotte and Rhea. I'm hearing rumors of potentially the Smackdown Women's Championship. I'm hearing rumors of Roman versus either Cesaro or Roman versus Jimmy Uso, right? Or even Jimmy versus Jey Uso. I'm hearing freaking, you know, Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley, or maybe even Drew versus Kofi versus Bobby Lashley. Like, there's no set plans for Hell in a Cell at the moment, which of course is a problem, but are we really surprised? This is the way WWE's been operating for years. For years, they're always changing their plans. They never do concrete. They do things week to week, which is one of the reasons why their creative is so bad, and we complain about it every single week. They don't plan stuff. They don't plan stuff in advance. They just go week to week to week. You know, so I don't know what to expect for Hell in a Cell, right? Like I said, I would just do Bayley and Bianca and Hell in a Cell at this point. I would not have Sasha come back until we have fans. I wouldn't have Becky Lynch come back till we have fans. Any superstar that has not returned, I would not have them return until we have fans back. That first SmackDown and Raw need to be huge. Huge. Not only are you having fans back in attendance for the first time in a year and a half since the pandemic, but you know those are going to be probably the highest rated shows of the year, good or bad, because everyone's going to be watching. They're promoting it heavy. They're having all these superstars, you know, talk about how excited they are to be back, you know, performing in front of the WWE Universe. All this, they're making this a huge deal because it is a big deal. So save all your returns for then. Don't do them inside the WWE Thunderdome. Don't. All right? I would have Becky come back to either the Raw. I don't know what brand Becky's going to be on. I would have her on Raw or SmackDown. It doesn't really matter to me at this point. It doesn't. But even though I feel like Becky would be better suited on Raw right now, but it doesn't matter to me what brand Becky goes on. I'd have Sasha come back either at Money in the Bank or on the first SmackDown. I would have John Cena come back because I feel like if Cena's coming back, we don't know how long he's going to be with the company. I would do John Cena versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, no question. Absolutely no question. John Cena going for his 17th world title against the best heel in the business right now, Roman Reigns. That's easily the main event of SummerSlam. Like, there's no reason why WWE should not book that. Not book that. Unless you have something else like Roman Reigns versus Edge, right? Or Roman versus Seth. I think the main event for SummerSlam should be Roman versus Cena. Right? I would save all those returns for when we get fans back in attendance. That's what I would do. Make this a big deal. Right? Make this a big deal. Let me look in the chat real quick. Let me see who we got here real quick. Let me see what's going on. What up, Paul? What up, bro? I saw you guys were watching that Bruce Lee movie in the Discord earlier. You know, Anthony, my former co-host, as always, in the chat, he says the show needs to be canceled. Cold water, amazing. Let me look in the chat. So, Rachel says Edge is returning on SmackDown Live. Like I said, that SmackDown, you have Cena come back, you have Edge come back, you save Sasha for that show as well? Bro, that could be absolutely amazing. Edward says, I'm hearing about Bobby versus Cena. You know, I know Cena is Cena's a free agent. So is Edge. I'm not against Cena versus Bobby Lashley, but at this stage, I want to see Cena versus Roman more. I know we had John Cena versus Roman at No Mercy, but the only good thing about that feud is the promos. The match itself was a little disappointing. right? Because I hate how Cena AA'd Roman 4 fucking times and Roman spears him once and that's it. It's like, I hate that. Cena freaking gave this guy a super AA. A super AA, in my opinion, is like 2 attitude adjustments at once. So technically, in my book, that's like 5 AAs that Cena gave Roman. And that dude, Roman, freaking speared him once and that was it. Bullcrap if you ask me. I want heel Roman versus Cena at SummerSlam. No, Cena versus Bobby would be great, right? I wouldn't mind. But I want Cena versus Roman, in my opinion. That's what I want. All right? I'm going to go through the chat real quick before we talk about Raw, because I'm just, right now, it's the opening of the podcast. I'm just like, I haven't spoke to you guys in a week, so I'm just giving you guys my thoughts on, certain topics, SmackDown things, the return of fans, things like that. Now, let me look. I'm going to go to the up. I'm gonna go to the top. Rachel, what did I miss from the promo for SmackDown Live? I know it's the Usos versus the Street Profits. I already kind of talked about that, right? Look. Paul says you sound excited. Must have been a great Raw. Look, there was some great in-ring action, and it's becoming a common theme. Raw has great in-ring action, but the storylines are trash. You guys see the title. Nia Jax and Tamina main eventing the show, which we'll talk about in just a sec. Like, anything good that happened on the show was burnt away. Burnt away the second that we got Nia Jax and Tamina in the main event. All right? All of it! I see you guys talk about the Usos. What up, Zero Mortal Plan? I will have a Zero Mortal Plan. I will have a Dragon Ball video tomorrow. I'm gonna do a analysis of Goku versus Granola round 1, right? Because I really enjoyed the latest manga chapter of DBS. I did personally, so I'm gonna do a little bonus video analyzing that fight. It's more for me just because I'm excited, So I got that video for you to come in tomorrow. Edward, I want Sasha to turn heel on the night. Look, Edward, heel Sasha is fantastic, bro. But I'm going to be honest. I need Sasha as a babyface because I need her to win next year at WrestleMania. That's the agenda going forward. Sasha getting her first WrestleMania win. That's my agenda for Sasha. I don't care if it's Io Shirai getting called up. I don't care who it is. Sasha's getting her first win next year at WrestleMania. I'm done with Sasha having to put people over, bro. I feel like Sasha's more marketable as a babyface, to be honest. That's my opinion. Let me look through the chat. Let's look through the chat. Christopher Carter, your birthday was last week. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday, all right? Hope you had a good time, spending it with those who mean, the most to you. Glad that you're here. Post-birthday celebration on the Fitz TV stream. So happy belated birthday to Christopher Carter in the chat. Let me look. Brock and Becky should come back at the first Raw after Money in the Bank. Paul, I'm with you. I want Brock versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, and I want Roman versus John Cena for the Universal title at SummerSlam. Oh, I know people could be like, oh, part-timers main eventing SummerSlam. This is a case where it should be ignored. John Cena making his return? Are you kidding me? Since we haven't seen John Cena since WrestleMania last year, one of the greatest of all time, my favorite superstar of all time, and for those of you guys who don't know, my favorite superstars of all time easily are Sasha Banks, John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are my 3 favorites all time. I need Cena back versus Roman. That's what I want. And we need our dream match versus Lesnar and Lashley. I need Lashley beating Lesnar at SummerSlam. The opening of the show should be Lesnar and Lashley. The middle of the show should be potentially Sasha and Bianca, unless something changes. And then the end of the show, Roman versus Cena. Give me those 3 matches at SummerSlam. There's no way it can be a bad show. Unfortunately, I'm not going to SummerSlam this year. I'm not, I don't feel like going all the way to Las Vegas. I was hoping it would be in Boston. They would make up for SummerSlam not being here last year because of COVID, right? But instead, they're having it in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is not a bad location. It's freaking Vegas, but I just don't care. You know, I don't care enough to go all the way to Las Vegas. I'm not doing that. All right. But still, we get those 3 matches. Woo. Let me see. Anthony says, was in the background while I was working and almost fell asleep on the clock. Bro, I remember when I used to be watching Raw at work and I was doing the reviews in my security outfit every week. All right. Rachel says, more NXT call-ups. I did read an article about that earlier this morning. Yes. So Io Shirai will probably get called up. We haven't seen her since she lost the NXT Women's title, right? Adam Cole, I have no problem. You put Adam Cole, on either Raw or SmackDown, he's easily in the main event scene. Adam Cole is not a guy you put in the mid card. He's a main event player off the bat. No questions asked. Who else did you say? Finn Balor? I wouldn't mind seeing Finn Balor back in the main roster, but I don't trust WWE to use him correctly. Are they going to learn? Did Vince McMahon watch how Finn Balor has been booked in NXT the last year and a half? That's how Finn Balor should have been booked on the main roster for the 3 years he was on the main roster before he went back down to NXT. Are you going to let Balor be the prince? Or are you going to book him like the smiley babyface he was before, who loses and loses and loses and still smiles the next night? So I have no problem with Adam Cole and Io Shirai being called up. Finn Balor, I have no problem being called up. But are you going to book them like the actual talent that they are? You already have enough talent that's not even used correctly on this show. So I don't know. Paul says you're clearly talking about Sasha. She was a face in every other WrestleMania match and lost. She got to turn heel. Look, Paul, I just want Sasha to get a WrestleMania victory. Do you think a heel Sasha Banks is going to get a WrestleMania victory next year? I don't think so. WrestleMania, of course, is a stage where lots of baby faces win. I know this year was kind of an anomaly because we saw a lot of heels win, right? We saw Roman and Bobby both retain their championships and, things of that nature. But if you're going to turn Sasha heel and she's not going to win at WrestleMania, I don't want to see it. I am not accepting Sasha turning heel to get a title reign just to lose at WrestleMania again. I'm over at this point. Sasha's the best female wrestler in the world. In my opinion, she's the best female wrestler of all time. But, and she proves that with every big match that she has. But I'm at the point now where Sasha winning a match at WrestleMania is top priority for me. It's above her winning the Royal Rumble. It's above her winning Money in the Bank. Sasha winning at WrestleMania is top priority. Everything else doesn't matter. All right? Until Sasha Banks gets that WrestleMania victory, I don't care about anything else. Me personally. I don't want to see Sasha get a title reign just for her to lose at WrestleMania again. I'm over that. Okay? So Braxton says, can I do NXT reviews? Look, bro, I'm not against doing NXT reviews, and if I wanted to, I could. It says that there's too much wrestling for me to digest in a week. I watch NXT, I DVR it and I go through it quickly. The match last week with Johnny Gargano and Bronson Lee, that was fantastic. I loved how he won the NXT North American Championship. Congrats to him. I just can't digest all that wrestling content in 1 week. 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, 2 more hours of NXT, and then AEW, which is freaking overrated as hell. And I know I'm a WWE guy, but even when I go look at AEW, I just can't get into it. I can't. I freaking can't watch Chris Jericho, who I love, by the way, freaking, them mock Stone Cold Steve Austin's famous beer segment. All right? Or, the freaking Young Bucks try to diss WWE at every chance that they get. It's cringe. The one good thing about AEW that I really like right now is that, Rusev, aka Miro, is the TNT champion. He's great. most of the other stuff going on in AEW, I just can't get into. So I'm not against doing NXT reviews, but it's like you guys have to show me that you want that. And I just got to find time in my schedule to do that. I feel like by the end of the summer, I will have a set schedule with my work. Because my work schedule is just so messed up right now that it's really making it tough for me to sleep, have the energy to make YouTube videos. And yeah, so I'm not against doing NXT, but NXT has to provide enough for me to watch the show and make me want to get on and turn the camera on to do a 1 hour review. Okay? Yo, Anthony says my basic ass favorite superstars of all time list. Yo, Anthony, shut your mouth, all right? You Kurt Angle, me and Anthony. The thing is, me and Anthony debate this all the time, right? Shawn Michaels, Sasha Banks, Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, my favorites. All right. Oh, Kofi Kingston's on that list as well, right? I look. I could do a whole podcast like one of my favorite superstars of all time. I'm just giving you like the top 5. AJ Styles is probably in the top 6. Daniel Bryan's in the top 7, right? Like, I could make a whole list if I really wanted to. I'm just giving you the top tier, all right? So shut up. You're a Kurt Angle fan, all right? You're talking about my list being basic, all right? Please, you want to come on the podcast and debate me on this? We can do this like old times, Anthony. We can do this like it was old times. All right. What 6-pack challenge are you guys talking about? I don't know what 6-pack challenge you guys are talking about. We need Goldberg. We need Goldberg versus The Fiend again. Paul, come on, stop trolling, man. Stop trolling these assholes. Be prepared. Yo, I don't want to hear the Sasha and Io Shirai shit. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, man. Like, it could happen, but I just don't know. All right, I'm ignoring that. Charlotte versus Becky and it's gonna be Charlotte versus Becky and Sasha versus Bianca at SummerSlam right now. Paul, I look, you might be right. If Becky comes back and she's on Raw, she's clearly going right back after the title that she never lost. Becky's going to go after the Raw Women's Championship, and then you're going to have most likely Charlotte be the champion. Because once Charlotte faces Rhea Ripley one-on-one, Charlotte is taking that title. Like, I don't know what else to tell you people. The fact that Rhea is still champion is kind of a miracle right now, if we're being honest with each other. It's kind of a miracle. So I agree with you. You know, Sasha versus Bianca, that rematch should not be taking place until we have fans back in attendance, and SummerSlam would be the perfect place for that rematch to take place. All right. So, yeah, Paul, you're probably correct on that one, bro. Looking in the chat, AEW is overrated. Kenny Omega is definitely overrated in my opinion. Like, I watch Kenny Omega and I'm just like, is this truly supposed to be the best wrestler in the world? Roman Reigns would wrestle circles around this guy. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, these guys would wrestle circles around Kenny Omega. He's an overrated garbage can that's holding 3 titles at once, and I couldn't care. I don't care when Kenny Omega appears on my screen. Honestly, I feel like it would be more enjoyable watching Christian Cage be AEW World Champion than Kenny Omega. I don't see the appeal behind the guy. I'm sorry. I don't. Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho were way better AEW World Champions. Hell, give freaking Pac, a.k.a. Neville, give him the AEW World Championship. Or Orange Cassidy. Kenny Omega, I don't understand what's so good about him. I don't. So I gotta agree with you guys there, man. Super Saiyan Vegeta, man. Welcome to the chat, man. I guess you come from the Dragon Ball videos, right? Glad that you're here. We're talking wrestling. We're talking Raw. We're here. We're almost 30 minutes in, and I'm not even on the Raw review, so this will probably be a longer review. I'm just going through the chat right now. Once I get to the end of the chat, we're going to get into the Raw review. You know, I don't want to be here for 2 hours, but I don't mind doing it. You know. Anthony says, me and Anthony have always debated Kurt Angle and HBK. So if you see Anthony with his strong Kurt Angle takes, he's a Kurt Angle guy. So just letting you guys know, right? I agree with you, Anthony. AEW sucks. The Young Bucks are overrated as hell. The Usos, the New Day, Undisputed Era in their prime. The Street Profits, I feel like would wrestle circles around the Young Bucks. I don't see the appeal behind the Young Bucks either. I don't. All right, I am at the bottom of the chat. All right, I'm at the bottom of the chat. So you guys can keep putting stuff in the chat. Super chats are open, of course, as always. I don't tell you guys to donate. I tell you guys, it's your choice, and I'm grateful for every donation we get. So I'll let you guys handle that. I'm going to pull up the notes. And like I said, the biggest thing with Monday Night Raw is Raw has some good things. And the thing about it is the in-ring action is not the problem. I said this last week. The in-ring action on Raw for the most part is pretty good. And I feel like part of that is because since you're in the Thunderdome, right, you have virtual screens around you. So the wrestlers are just able to focus on their in-ring craft. And we're seeing so many good in-ring matches in the Thunderdome these days. So much. And maybe once WWE gets back to live crowds, I'll do a special video when we'll go back and look at the best from the Thunderdome era. Because there was some really good stuff. From Sasha Banks to Bayley to Roman Reigns. Right? There was some really good stuff. And like the in-ring action on Raw is pretty good. It's the freaking storylines that suck. Like, for example, Nia Jax and Tamina in the main event. Look, you guys know I am all for women's wrestling. You guys know I'm a huge advocate. I talk more women's wrestling on here than I talk about anything else on the podcast. But the thing about it is, there is nothing you can do to convince me that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Natalya and Tamina is a main event worthy match. I'm sorry, it's not. The feud, the only reason why we got this feud still going is because WWE liked the crowd response that Tamina and Natalya got at WrestleMania. That's it. Other than that, this is a whole bunch of garbage. I'm happy for Tamina for her getting her first title victory, but I don't care about her really as a performer. I'm not invested in her and Natalya as a tag team. I don't care about this feud. And the fact that you put in the main event tonight just made me laugh. I didn't even watch the match. I just went and took a quick shower, just before the review. I had it playing on in the background. I was like, what the hell are we doing here? I would have much rather you gave me Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre, who put on a banger of a match to open up Raw. I hate how we got the DQ finish, but that Drew versus Kofi match slapped. That was a great match to open up Raw. And they didn't even get the finish. I would have rather that take place in the last 30 minutes of Raw than that garbage we got as a women's tag team match. And then what's worse is, you do another Alexa Bliss explosion. You guys they're trying really hard for me not to care about Alexa Bliss. I want to get invested in this character, but then there seems to be no direction. She fires off some explosion, right? She fires off some explosion that, blindsides Reginald, and then, that allows Shayna Baszler to get freaking rolled up again. So Shayna Baszler loses again. How many times now in the last month have we seen freaking Shayna Baszler lose to a roll-up or something dumb like that? She lost a couple weeks ago to Fire in the turnbuckle. Now she's losing to Fire on the stage. And then after the match, she challenges Reginald to a one-on-one singles match next week that nobody gives a shit about. And that's how you decide to have Raw go off the air. And you wonder why the ratings are at a 1.7 every single week. Why the hell was this put in the main event? Who thought that was a good way for the show to go off the air? I don't get it. I really don't get it with WWE. Hold on. Someone texted me. I have to answer that real quick. But like I said, Why the hell was this our main event tonight? I don't get the logic of this company. You give us some good in-ring action like Matt Riddle and Xavier Woods. I'm actually not that mad about the direction of the WWE Championship, right? There's things that I'm trying to like and enjoy about this show, and then you give me that bullshit to end the show, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, really? I really hate how WWE does this. I hate that. Their logic is terrible, man. Terrible. So that's my little quick spiel, as we get into the podcast tonight. Good in-ring action, but that does not save bad creative. That would be the sentence to describe Raw the last 2 weeks. Good in-ring action cannot save bad creative decision-making on Raw. I could end the review right after that if I really wanted to. Let me zoom in real quick because this is bothering me. There we go. You guys can see me a little better now, but I hate it. There we go. So that's fixed. But I just hate that. I hate that, man. Every time it looks like they're trying to take a step forward, they take 2 steps back. So my camera's still acting up. All right, there we go. That should be good. So, let me look in the chat one more time before we actually go through this. Paul says, Randy Orton had the greatest wrestling match of all time last year. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. Randy Orton versus Edge was great, but remember, that was a match that they had to film multiple takes. Multiple takes. It was a pre-recorded match. Remember that. Why is my camera bothering me so much right now? All right. Anyway, my camera making me lose my train of thought. Yo, my camera would stay in focus. What the hell? Oh, there we go. That's okay. There we go. Your boy looking clean. All right. Now let me look at the chat real quick. Multiple takes of true greatness. Oh my gosh, Paul. Multiple takes of true greatness. Look, it was a great match, yeah, but still. But anyway, let's get into Raw actually. Let's get into this shit. All right? Like I don't think, what the hell? I don't think even Bleacher Report. Yeah, that's funny. WWE doesn't even have. That's hilarious. Bleacher Report doesn't even care about this show. They don't even have the notes for the show up yet. They're updating it as I'm doing the review. So, I'm just going to get the notes from YouTube, WWE's YouTube page. Oh, yeah, by the way, did you guys see that trailer for Eternals? That shit was hilarious. Like, I'm excited for that movie, but then I'm not, like, it's Marvel. I trust Marvel with whatever they do, But they got to do, I think they're going to have to, make me believe in this Eternals movie a little bit more. Especially since it takes place in the past. Anyway, let's get into Raw. Enough of me stalling. So, The show opens up with Bobby Lashley. He has his entourage of women with him, so I guess this is kind of becoming a new thing for him. I don't mind it at all because, we don't see that often. And facts, Bobby looks clean. I love his suit game. Like I said, if I want to know where Bobby gets those suits at. I don't know if they're custom made or if he has his own suit line. Look, me being a businessman personally, I would love to have suits like that. I love Bobby Lashley's suit game. So he comes out. MVP does the same announcement that Sonya Deville gave last week on Smackdown, talking about how fans will be back in WWE Live as WWE's going back on the road starting in July 16th when they're in Texas, Money in the Bank, Raw, SmackDown on the start of a 25-city tour, which, of course, we all know and everybody's excited for that. So then, as they're talking about, the thorn in their side who has been Drew McIntyre, and then Drew comes out and Drew says he's going to continue to be a thorn in their side until he gets back what he wants, which is the WWE Championship. So they're making Drew more of this obsessed babyface, right? He's going to keep coming after Bobby until he gets what he wants. And, usually when a heel does this, we get annoyed. And I don't know. I'm I'm over the Drew McIntyre WWE Championship in this year at this point in time. I'm over it. I want Drew on SmackDown. I feel like he needs to change the scenery and he needs some fresh competition since he's already faced off against everybody on Raw at this point. That's my opinion on Drew. But if they do end up doing Drew versus Bobby at Hell in a Cell, that needs to be the end of it. Drew needs to lose to Lashley inside Hell in a Cell, and they got to end this. And then, either move Drew on to something else or do a superstar shakeup or brand split, right? Another draft and get Drew on SmackDown. That's what they need to do with this guy, all right? So Kofi Kingston comes out. We talked in length last week on the Raw review about especially how excited I was to see Kofi Kingston back in the main event. And I saw JD from NY complaining about this. I'm going to say this. JD's wrong, because I know there's a lot of you in here that listen to JD after you guys listen to me, or some of you guys listen to JD before you guys listen to my podcast, which I appreciate. I'm very grateful that you guys, have me in your lineup of podcasters when it comes to wrestling, especially since I don't have the audience that that some of these other YouTubers like BC and JD have. Right? They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Look, I'm not even at 10,000 yet, but I appreciate the love and support you guys give me. Look, I'm going to say this. I disagree with JD on this. Kofi Kingston belongs in the main event scene. And I'm not going to go in length on this because I talked about it last week. Go watch last week's Raw review if you guys want my full thoughts on this. Kofi Kingston, when he's not doing the goofiness of the New Day gimmick, he is a main event star. He had a fantastic WWE Championship reign a couple years ago. Remember when he held that title for 6 months? It was a great reign. I remember it clearly in my mind. He should have never lost to Brock Lesnar in 8 seconds, but it was still a great reign, right? And the guy performs, and he has the appearance and the mic ability to be a main event star again. And Kofi being back in the WWE Championship run, in my opinion, is perfect. I don't like how it took Kofi 2 years to have the balls to go back after the WWE Championship since he never got a WWE title rematch. Because when he lost to Brock Lesnar, right, the week after, Kofi was back going after the SmackDown Tag Team titles with Xavier and Big E. I hated that. I really hated that Kofi didn't try to go after a rematch. And I don't like how they're trying to relive that 2 years later. But Kofi being in the main event scene and going after the WWE Championship is 100% what should be happening. 100,000% the right thing to do. Kofi belongs in the main event scene. Just have him be serious, Kofi, where he's not, doing the goofiness that he usually does in the New Day. That's all. That is all. All right. I don't want to hear this. Oh, Kofi's only there because they don't have enough baby faces or things like that. No, Kofi should be in the main event scene. He's not there. Sure, yes, Raw doesn't have a lot of babyface talent right now to face Bobby Lashley, and that's WWE's fault for not building people up correctly. But Kofi 100,000% deserves to be in the WWE Championship scene. He deserves to be in the main event scene. And if you don't believe that, then you need to go back to 2019 and relive Kofi's run as WWE Champion. Go back and watch it. It's on Peacock. All right? Go back and watch it. He was a fantastic WWE Champion, in my opinion, and he deserves to be in the main event scene, and he's 100% in the right spot. Just have him be serious Kofi, and don't have him be the goofy New Day Kofi. We didn't get much of that goofy New Day Kofi tonight. Tonight we got serious Kofi Kingston, and that was showcased in a fantastic match with Drew McIntyre. So Kofi comes out and he says that even though he pinned Bobby Lashley last week, he didn't ask for Drew's help. He didn't need Drew's help. We don't know if Kofi would have won that match if Drew didn't help him. But the facts are the facts. Kofi beat Bobby Lashley on Raw last week. So Kofi and Drew both make claims of wanting a WWE Championship match with Bobby Lashley. So Adam Pearce comes out. He makes a simple decision. He says Kofi versus Drew McIntyre. The winner faces Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. I have no complaints about that. I know you guys probably didn't have no complaints about that either watching this. All right, let's do it. So then the next 30 minutes, there was 2 commercial breaks in between. But the next 30 minutes, we get a fantastic match between Kofi and Drew. This is a pay-per-view quality match, right? It's basically it's Drew's power versus Kofi's quickness and wrestling experience. Because we got 2 veterans, 2 former great WWE champions going at it to see who's going to be the next #1 contender. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I sat, and I didn't have this match in the background. I sat and watched this match, even with the commercials. And I loved everything. Drew doing all these power moves and being frustrated at Kofi, who was persevering and kicking out of everything. And Kofi doing his high-flying spots and making Drew, really have to dig down deep in his bag to find a way to beat Kofi. The end of the match, of course, ended with Bobby Lashley interfering because Kofi did a suicide dive to the outside of or not a suicide dive. I think he jumped from the middle rope. I think he did like the trust fall, right? Which looked great. He did it from the top rope, and it took out both Drew and Bobby at ringside. So Bobby got frustrated. Him and MVP stormed the ring. They attack Kofi and Drew, and the match ends in DQ, right? The match gets thrown out. And then both Kofi and Drew team up to take out MVP and Bobby and send them, hurrying up the ramp. So then Adam Pearce backstage announced that next week we will get this match again, which should be in the main event, right? That the match we got tonight deserved to be in the main event against, instead of that garbage women's tag team match we got. But this match definitely next week should be in the main event. If anything that we saw tonight, should be analyzed and should be applied to next week, it's that Kofi and Drew deserve the main event spot next week easily. It's the freaking #1 contender match for the WWE Championship. I shouldn't have to say anything else. So Adam Pearce says that next week, Kofi versus Drew, #1 contenders match. Winner faces Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. Okay, bet. And if Bobby Lashley or MVP tried to interfere or even at ringside, they will both be suspended 90 days without pay. Doesn't say anything about Bobby being stripped of the WWE title, but he will be suspended, which will probably, would end up with him getting stripped of the title anyway, because he won't be able to defend it. Whatever, right? So I'm excited for this match because I love the match that we got tonight, and I kind of wish we got a finish to it. Honestly, I'll say this. Look, it's kind of a foregone conclusion that we're going to get Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. I feel like we all know that match, this is a feud that I guess you could say deserves to be inside Hell in a Cell. I guess you can say that, right? And these two will kill it inside Hell in a Cell. But I want Kofi there as well. I'm going to be honest, I want Kofi there. I know WWE has done a lot of triple threat matches as of late, especially for titles. We had Roman versus Bryan versus Edge at WrestleMania. We had Charlotte, Asuka, and Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title at Backlash, which freaking Dave Meltzer gave it 4.25 stars. Don't listen to that clown. It was a good match, but 4.25 stars? Please, stop it. Stop it. All right? We also got Braun versus Drew versus Bobby at Backlash, which was another great triple threat match. Look, Kofi deserves to be in the WWE Championship scene. I feel like you adding him in there and making a triple threat match at Hell in a Cell only enhances that match, really. Look, Drew and Bobby, they're going to kill it at Hell in a Cell, but I want Kofi there as well. I feel like that would make the match even better, to be honest. Imagine Kofi doing high-flying moves on different parts of the cell. Well, maybe Bobby and Drew, maybe one spears each other through the cell. And there's so many crazy things you can do with those three men because they have three totally different styles. So I would love to see it. In my prediction next week, I think Drew's going to win. I think Drew's going to claim her Kofi, and then, Drew's going to get Bobby at Hell in a Cell. If it was up to me, I would have Kofi Kingston thrown into that match and make it a triple threat, in my opinion. But I think Drew's going to win next week, regardless of what happens. And then, no matter what happens, Bobby should retain at Hell in a Cell, no matter if it's a triple threat match against Kofi and Drew, no matter if it ended up being Drew versus Kofi or Drew versus McIntyre. As long as Bobby Lashley retains the WWE Championship, that is what matters. Let me take another sip of water. Let me see in the chat real quick. I feel like I have to check the. I feel like I have to check the chat after every time I talk about a segment on this show, because you guys talk about a lot. I don't look at the chat when I'm talking. So let me see. Paul says that's. Oh man. Paul, you're kind of right. Kofi did pin Bobby, so Kofi should technically be the number one contender. You are right. If anything, I feel like it would just be better to give us Kofi versus Bobby before Hell in a Cell, and then just do Drew and Bobby at Hell in a Cell. Or the winner of that match, would face Drew at Hell in a Cell. But I don't make the rules here. WWE goes by their own stupid line of thinking. Okay. So let's move on. Let me check. I don't know why I get so many text messages when I'm recording. Anyway, they showed another Evolution promo. I don't care. All right? That's all I got to say. I don't care. If Eva Marie comes back as a babyface, how long till she gets booed enough that they have to turn her heel? I give it 2-3 months max. The only way I will care about Eva Marie is she comes back and she's actually good in the ring, which I doubt. Right now, I don't have the confidence that she'll do so. So until proven otherwise, I do not care. Oh, man, this was stupid. We went from some really good stuff here with Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston to something really that didn't make any sense. So Charlotte is backstage, and I don't know, Charlotte, I don't know why they put so much makeup on her. She's looking more and more like a clown every single week. They put all this makeup on Charlotte, and it's just really unnecessary if you ask me. But anyway, Charlotte is talking to Rhea Ripley, right? And Charlotte is talking about, she's the 13-time champion. She's the most decorated woman superstar in WWE history. All this stuff. The opportunity, bro. She's the opportunity, man. Right? Horrific nickname. That's a terrible nickname. All right? I'll keep saying it until I can say no more. And all of a sudden, Nikki Cross, we saw Nikki Cross in the Lumberjack match between Damian Priest and John Morrison last week. And now this week, Nikki Cross made her another appearance, which I was like, okay, I'm happy to see Nikki Cross back, in the women's division. There's too much talented women. There's too much talented superstars in general not being used. Like, come on. So I was actually happy to see Nikki Cross here, you know. So then Nikki Cross throws a challenge down to either Charlotte or Rhea Ripley. And then Charlotte's like, oh, if I didn't have to beat Asuka, I would beat you in 2 minutes. And then Rhea Ripley, I have not been a fan of Rhea Ripley on the mic the last couple months, but Rhea Ripley says something that I actually enjoyed. Rhea Ripley says the reason why no one likes you, Charlotte, is because you talk down to everybody like you're better than them. Which, you know, I agree. Charlotte is overrated as hell in the ring. So, you know, Rhea... Or Charlotte says, okay, Rhea, if you're so good, right, you can beat her in 2 minutes, right? And Rhea says, no problem, you know, because she's not going to, you know, just ignore a challenge like that. But, damn, she's texting me again. Anyway, so what happens here is we get Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Cross in a 2-minute beat the clock challenge. First off, let me remind you people of something. Nikki Cross was almost SmackDown Women's Champion last year. Almost. She was almost the SmackDown Women's Champion last year. She had some really good matches with Sasha Banks and Bayley, if you guys remember correctly. So now I'm supposed to believe that Nikki Cross can only last 2 minutes in the ring? Rhea Ripley's good enough that she can beat someone like Nikki Cross in 2 minutes? Really? Really? Okay. Here's the thing. Rhea Ripley doesn't beat Nikki Cross in 2 minutes. Nikki Cross actually gets the victory because since Rhea wasn't able to beat her, Nikki technically gets the victory here. That was the rules of the match. Lame and stupid, right? Rhea stupidly, they made Rhea Ripley even look more stupid because Rhea forgot that there was time on the clock. Rhea's beating Nikki down in the corner. She stupidly doesn't look on the clock to see that time is winding down, you know, and then she loses. I don't care if you're beating someone down. There's a big ass Titatron behind you that's telling you how much time is on the clock. It takes 2 seconds to look on the clock. If you can't beat Nikki Cross in 2 minutes, that's one thing. But if you're just beating down on someone and you're not having that urgency to beat them down enough to win the match in the time, you know, put down, which was 2 minutes in this circumstance, it's just, you're dumb. They made Rhea Ripley look really dumb here, right? But I'll say this. The fact that Rhea Ripley wasn't mad about it, it didn't bother me too much because it was like, whatever, that's my fault, you know? It's whatever here. So I'm mad that they didn't have Rhea like throw some stupid temper tantrum how she lost a stupid, worthless beat the clock challenge. I think Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross can give us a good 10 to 15 minute match, right? But, you know, I thought the whole beat the clock stipulation thing was stupid from the get-go, but I'm kind of glad that, you know, that it didn't really turn up into anything dumb. So you have Nikki Cross celebrating at ringside, all happy about her win, whatever. So Charlotte comes out, and guess what we get next? We get Charlotte versus Asuka. Again. This is what I'm talking about with WWE. I came on here last week and I said I gave Charlotte credit. I gave the opportunity credit. I said that Charlotte and Asuka had a damn good match, which they did. And Asuka actually got the victory here, right? Asuka actually got the victory here. But there was no reason for us to get a rematch this week. Why did we get a rematch here? What was the point? There was nothing on the line. It's like WWE just takes something good and they just shove it down your throat over and over and over again till you no longer care about it. And it's just like, bro. It's like, bro, like, what the actual hell? Why is this what WWE's choosing to do here? Right? They take one good thing and they just do it till you no longer care about it. I had no care about this match. It was a good match, but I had no care for it because I had just seen it last week and there was nothing on the line here. Actually, last week they said the winner of this match would be next in line to face Rhea Ripley. So technically, Asuka won. So why what are we doing here? Well, like why isn't Asuka getting another title match against Rhea Ripley? There was no explanation for that. So there you have WWE trying to insult your intelligence. And then, mind you, they have Charlotte win tonight. They have Charlotte win the match. A match that totally means nothing. They had Charlotte win via roll-up. Well, like, what are we doing here? Are we doing a best of 3 series? Are we doing a best of 7? What's the point? What's the point? Your focus should be on building the next challenger for Rhea Ripley at the next pay-per-view, which is Hell in a Cell. If it's Charlotte, even as much as I don't want to see it, it builds Charlotte up. If it's Asuka, build Asuka up. I hate the 50-50 booking here. I really hate it. Like, you have Asuka win last week, which was kind of exciting, and then you have her lose this week to Charlotte. It's like, what the hell? Where's this going? Why should I care? And then the other thing that should be the note here is that, Charlotte said something to Rhea Ripley. She said that I'm going to be the one to take that title from you inside Hell in a Cell. So I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but WWE teased tonight, blink and you missed it, they teased that we're going to get Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte inside Hell in a Cell match. I don't care. I don't care. Really. At this point, just have Becky Lynch come back and build Becky Lynch back up to win that title. Because at this point, the Raw Women's division has no direction. The 50-50 booking, the logic lapse, the no clear direction of where you want to go here. It's just, I have no interest inside Rhea Ripley and Charlotte inside a Hell in a Cell match. I have no interest in seeing it. It would probably be a good match, but I don't care enough to see it. I don't. Mind you, the only time we've ever seen Charlotte inside Hell in a Cell was against Sasha Banks. And that was Sasha Banks' worst Hell in a Cell match. The match against Becky and the match against Bayley were both better than that match against Charlotte. It was a good match, mind you, but it brings back bad memories because Charlotte should have never beat Sasha inside Hell in a Cell in her hometown of Boston. That should have never happened to begin with, people. Never should have happened. And I'm not interested in seeing it now with Rhea Ripley. No matter if Rhea Ripley retained, no matter if Charlotte won, which would of course be the worst case scenario, but no, I have no interest in seeing it. I just care about either whoever wins Women's Money in the Bank, which in my opinion should be Sonya Deville, or seeing Becky Lynch come back, if she indeed comes back to Monday Night Raw, and her, trying to go for the Raw Women's Championship. Give me Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch at this point. All right? I don't care about Charlotte. I don't care about any of this other nonsense. I don't. But yeah, just letting you guys know who didn't watch the show, WWE is teasing us with Rhea and Charlotte at Hell in a Cell inside the cell. It's nothing's confirmed yet, but we'll see. We still have about 3 weeks left before Hell in a Cell anyway. So we'll see what happens. But I have no interest in that whatsoever. NBA YouTube, look, I still have no idea if I have no idea if Rhea's a babyface or heel. I'm just gonna say tweener, but 1 week she's heel against Asuka, another week she's acting babyface against Charlotte. I don't know at this point. All right, I don't know. Casey, that's a good stat. So Casey says, by the time we get to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, to show how overput Charlotte is, this would be her 27th main roster title match on pay-per-view. So that's not Charlotte's 27th pay-per-view match. This would be her 27th pay-per-view match for a title. We're talking tag titles, women's title, Raw women's title, and Smackdown women's title, which is ridiculous. So Thomas Ablin, I don't know if you're new. I don't recognize you. But if you're new, welcome to the family. But so he just said that Charlotte versus Rhea is confirmed. Now I'm going to check WWE's social media page to confirm this. Just so you know. If it is confirmed, then... But let me look on WWE's YouTube page. Or social media page. Oh, and mind you, the first thing I see on Twitter is that Charlotte has a backstage interview. Let's look at this real quick. Let's check this out.
Charlotte, congratulations on an intense match against Asuka and taking the victory tonight. But I want to talk about the match prior to yours. You seem to have coerced Rhea Ripley to take the challenge against Nikki Cross, that she couldn't defeat her in less than 2 minutes. And well, Rhea Ripley did not. She failed to do so. Do you feel like this just proves that she's not on your level?
It's not even about being on my level. It's about what it takes to be the best. It's about what it takes to be on top. If you want to come antagonize me before my match and you haven't even prepared for yours, you might talk the talk, but you can't walk the walk. And until you've been in my shoes for the last 6 years, I don't want to hear anything out of your mouth. That's fact. Takes to be on top. If you want to come antagonize me before my match and you haven't even prepared for yours, you might talk the talk, but you can't walk the walk. And until you've been in my shoes for the last 6 years, I don't want to hear anything out of your mouth.
Okay, Sean. I don't want to hear anything out of your mouth. Shut up. You're the most overrated female superstar in WWE history. Shut up. Honestly, Rhea didn't. I don't want to defend Rhea, but Rhea didn't have a match on the show. It wasn't until that backstage segment that match was made. Like, nobody cares. All right, being on your level, like no one, like you're overrated as hell. You're not as good as you think you are. Dumbass crap, bro. Let me see. I'm scrolling through WWE social media. Ricochet was on Raw Talk wearing a Ben Simmons jersey. Wow, great. Eva Marie tweets out the new face of WWE Raw. Shut up. Shut up. So I don't see anything. I don't see anything saying the match is confirmed. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. You guys let me know. So I guess I guess it is confirmed. I don't know. You guys are saying in the chat that it's confirmed. If it's confirmed, it's whatever. I don't care. But I just want to know that it's confirmed. Like, you know, just so like I'm not going to Raw next week. Like, oh, we don't have a confirmed match for Hell in a Cell. So if it's confirmed, it's whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going through social media trying to see the matches confirmed. Look, if the match is confirmed, it's whatever. It's whatever at this point, all right? Let's get back to the review. Let's focus on the other stuff that happened on the show. All right, next up, we had Matt Riddle versus Xavier Woods. This was really good. Like I said, there was a lot of really good in-ring action on this show. So Matt Riddle versus Xavier Woods. This was being set up because last week, of course, Riddle was mad at Xavier for interfering during the Kofi and Randy Orton match, which led to Kofi rolling up Randy Orton getting the victory. And since Riddle is, becoming more aligned with Randy Orton by the week, right? They're building more chemistry with one another. They're getting a little closer. Riddle was, sticking up for his tag team partner, which led to this match tonight. This match was fantastic. It had no business being as good as it was. Matt Riddle and Xavier Woods killed it. If there's one thing other than the Kofi and Drew McIntyre match, right? And we know, as a tag team, the New Day, they're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. But this, no one saw coming. Xavier and Matt Riddle destroyed each other in this match. And this was fantastic to see. I've been saying for years, Xavier Woods is the most underrated member of the New Day. We know Kofi Kingston. We've been watching him for over a decade, close to a decade and a half at this point, right? One of the more decorated stars in WWE history, loved and respected by almost everybody. Big E, the power man of the New Day, right? You know, he's doing his thing on SmackDown. I'm excited for the feud with Aleister Black. I know I didn't talk about the Aleister Black return on SmackDown since I didn't do a SmackDown review this week, but I'm very happy to see Aleister Black return. I just hope that he's booked like the main event talent that he is. You know, mid-card or main event scene, Aleister Black better be treated like the main event star that he is. You know, hopefully this isn't for the next 2 months. Aleister Black is a guy that could be Universal Champion, if we're being honest with ourselves. He's that good. So I'm very excited to see what they do with this Aleister Black Big E feud. But you guys know I love Big E. I love the way he's presented now on SmackDown. And I'm not against us getting a Big E versus Aleister Black, or not that. A Big E versus Roman Reigns Universal title match at some point in the next year. I'm not against that. But what was I going to say? You know, Xavier Woods is easily the most underrated guy, right? You look at him, he's the guy with the trombone. He's probably the most comedic one out of the group, right? We know him from Up, Up, Down, Down, and, his video game channel. But you guys got to remember, this guy can wrestle in the ring. He is very, very underrated in the ring, and he put that on full display tonight. We know how good Matt Riddle is, even though, all right, I just got the report from Bleacher Report. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair is set for Hell in a Cell. Even though Asuka beat Charlotte last week, so let's just ignore Asuka. I understand Asuka's not supposed to be in the title picture, but based off 50-50 booking and you having Asuka beat Charlotte last week, Asuka gets nothing out of all this. Wow, whatever. But Charlotte versus Rhea is confirmed for Hell in a Cell. Charlotte's winning that title, guys. No matter, I'm convinced of it. Charlotte's going to win that title at Hell in a Cell. And we're all going to suffer. All right, but anyway, like I said, Xavier Woods killed it in this match, man. And some of the moves, well, I always say this, when you evolve, when you show evolution of your moveset in matches, that's how you're going to quickly become one of my favorites. I notice that all the time, because WWE all the time has superstars come out and do the same thing, man. Xavier Woods, we know how great Matt Riddle is. We know how great he is. Xavier Woods, he was the MVP on Raw tonight. Because the stuff he was showing in this match, a lot of this stuff we've never seen out of Xavier Woods at all. There was a suplex spot off the apron where, I think Xavier was on the middle rope and, Riddle grabbed him and did a suplex off it, which looked absolutely brutal. Friggin' Woods is doing drivers and all these other moves. I don't remember everything, but watching it, I was shocked. I was like, damn, there was a point where Woods had Riddle in a tombstone position, right? Tombstone pile driver position. And then he just throws him into the turnbuckle. Brutal stuff. Xavier Woods really showcased. If there's one thing I want you guys to go back and watch from this show, outside of Kofi versus Drew, it would be this match. This was really great. And it almost makes me want to see Xavier get his own singles push. All three members of the New Day, they're great together, but they're just as good separate. All three members can, bring it in the ring. This was a fantastic match, easily the most underrated thing on the show. And then Riddle won the match, not by using the bro Derek or anything like that. He won the match with a really good-looking RKO. Because before the match, Riddle, dedicated, his showdown with Woods to Randy Orton, right? Trying to get some payback for last week. And Randy wasn't at ringside for this at all. Riddle did the RKO. Looked beautiful. Chef's kiss. 1, 2, 3. Riddle gets the win here. But Woods looks amazing in defeat. He looked great. Honestly, give me Xavier versus Randy next week. Let's see let's see what Xavier can do against Randy. I really want to see more of Xavier Woods as a single star now. If you want to have Kofi going after the WWE Championship and maybe you want to build up Xavier to challenge Sheamus, like, I'm not saying Xavier has to become the United States champion. Did I say Intercontinental champion? I hope not. But I'm not saying I want to see Xavier become the United States champion, but if you want to have Kofi going after the WWE Championship for the time being, and you had to have Xavier, having some matches in the mid-card, I'm all for that. Because I think Sheamus should hold on to the United States Championship until SummerSlam, and he should drop that to Damian Priest. But if you want to give me an Xavier versus Sheamus match down the line, give me more Xavier in singles action, because the guy is clearly underrated. So, great stuff here. After Riddle wins the match, he does the Randy Orton pose, right? Loved it. Arguably the best thing on the show tonight. Really good stuff here with Xavier and Riddle. I love where they're going with Xavier and Randy. I eventually feel like they should be the Raw Tag Team Champions. They should be built up to beat AJ and Almas at some point in the next couple months, right? Maybe at Money in the Bank, maybe at SummerSlam. We'll see, but definitely I want to see that match at some point in the next couple months. But really great stuff here from Xavier Woods, right? Really great stuff. Moving on. We had Shelton Benjamin versus Cedric Alexander, right? So we know, like I said before, these two should not be these two should have been a tag team. They should have never been broken up. But they've had, you're not going to lie, they've had a nice little side feud going on these last couple, for about the last month. They've had a nice little side feud, even though I feel like we all agreed they should have stayed as a tag team. It made no sense that we broke them up. But, Cedric here. Look, Cedric cut a promo before this match, and it was so bad that Corey Graves on commentary, was like, damn, I know I'm supposed to stay impartial here, but I want Shelton to punch Cedric in the mouth. Because Cedric here, he cut this promo about how, basically the same thing he's been saying, how Shelton's old and washed up, and how when he's done with him, he's not going to be here anymore. All this other stuff, right? But the thing about it is, Cedric's promo, the problem with it is, it just came off him. It came off as him just yelling and screaming. He came off as very annoying, very bitchy, and I'm just like, dude, shut the hell up. That's how the promo came off as. And I like Cedric. I want to see him succeed, but it was a very annoying promo. Instead, he has to calm down. I hope during the week, he goes back and he looks at this promo and he realizes that he needs to make some changes, right? Instead of yelling, focus more on, the emotion and the passion, right? You could see, he's trying to do the best he can, but he's yelling and screaming too much. And it's just like, ugh. Like when you have the commentators, going off the script a little bit here, like Corey Graves did tonight, that's when you truly know, like, all right, you got something you gotta fix. I didn't like that out of, Xavier Woods tonight, and hopefully, he fixes that going forward. I hope he fixes that, right? So, but we get the match. Shelton was enraged by Cedric's comments, and then Cedric, is staying away from Shelton. He, being a heel, of course, he's on the outside, and then eventually Shelton gets a little too emotional here, and Cedric takes advantage. Pretty good match. They had a pretty good match a couple weeks ago. This was a good match as well. Cedric got the win here. Which left Shelton, right? Cedric, Shelton. It's easy to get those things mixed up, but it left Shelton very shocked at ringside, and clearly looks like this feud is going to continue. Like I said, I wish these two were still a tag team, but, I don't mind this little side feud going on. You need to have these on the show. And, this side feud, for the most part, has been pretty enjoyable. So we'll see where it goes in the next couple of weeks. Next up, we had Humberto versus Sheamus, right? Remember, Sheamus and Humberto have been basically feuding since WrestleMania. Sheamus has been taking out Humberto almost week after week, and Humberto keeps coming after Sheamus because not only does he want to be United States champion, but he's not gonna allow himself to be bullied by Sheamus. Which I'm enjoying this. Sheamus has done a phenomenal job with the United States Championship so far. Last week I said that Sheamus, in my opinion, Sheamus deserves one more run with a world title. Maybe not now, but in the future, I think Sheamus should get another run with either the WWE or Universal titles. He is fantastic at what he does. So him and Humberto had a really, it was a quick little match here. It wasn't too long, but Sheamus, of course, was ultra aggressive like he always is. Humberto got a little bit here, and I forgot, if I remember correctly, the match ended by DQ, if I'm right. I believe the match ended by disqualification. But Ricochet came out of nowhere. You guys remember Ricochet and Sheamus had a fantastic match last week, going on with the theme of how good the in-ring action has been on Raw these last couple of weeks. And I'm glad that Ricochet's at least being used in the mid-card scene. At least Ricochet's actually being used. I know Ricochet's now wrestling in like jeans and stuff like that. I don't mind the look. Yes, I do miss Ricochet's old look, but I don't really mind this jean look for him too much. I don't mind it for him too much. But Ricochet attacked Sheamus, and then Humberto got some payback on Sheamus as well. So you can see basically Sheamus is causing a lot of trouble with the baby faces in the mid-card division, which I don't mind at all. If they want to continue this for the next couple weeks, I have no problem. Sheamus is fantastic. At the end of the day, Sheamus versus Damian Priest should be the match you should be building up towards. I don't think Damian Priest was on the show. He cut a quick promo backstage about how you guys can come see him when WWE's back on the road starting in July. But that was about it, But pretty good stuff here, and we'll see how this continues going forward. Great stuff here from Sheamus, of course. So yeah, and last but not least, we had Natalya and Tamina versus Baszler and JAX. Like I said earlier, the fact that this was in your main event is ridiculous. There is nothing you can do to make me believe that this is main event worthy. I only, was kind of curious to see, could potentially somebody be coming back here, right? Could Eva Marie be making her debut? Is that why this is the main event? There was no reason why this match was in the main event and Kofi and Drew wasn't. Kofi and Drew should have been the main event of this show. And of course, it should be the main event next week, which I believe it will be. But this match was horrible. Horrible. There was nothing. Remember, we've seen this match already, at WrestleMania. We saw it at Backlash. We saw a rematch last week, right? So we've already seen this match 3 or 4 times. And here it's just like, I'm over it. I don't care for it. I have no desire about anybody in this match. No desire for anybody here. Shayna Baszler should be going after Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. And instead, they have her getting pinned every single week due to fucking fire. Fire. Like, that doesn't show you what's wrong with the show. I don't know what else to say to you guys. I don't. But either way, so Shayna Baszler told Reginald to stay back. Because Nia was like, we're an indestructible force. But Shayna's complained that ever since Reginald got involved, Nia's been getting distracted. And, it's caused them to lose their, lose how good a team they were. And especially that's the reason why they lost the Women's Tag Team Championships. So, Nia was too busy worrying about Reginald's eye and how much pain he was in. But Shayna said, if you interfere in the main event tonight, if you interfere in my match, and I was trying to get back the Women's Tag Team Championships, I'll give you a reason to have nightmares. So we get the match itself, and of course, Reginald comes down to the ring. giving me flashbacks of Sasha and Bianca from a couple months ago. So Reginald being annoying, and the fact that this is revolving around Reginald just makes it worse. I already have no care for it in the first place. The fact that you're including Reginald even more gives me more reason not to care about it. So Reginald gets involved, and basically this time Shayna's like, no, because Shayna had Natalya pinned for a 3 count. But because of Reginald's interference, the referee was able to make the count in time, and Natalya kicked out. So Shayna gets pissed because this is deja vu and kicks Reginald out. Reginald goes up the ramp, right, to leave, and then fire, happens on the Titantron. Clearly, this is Alexa Bliss. And like I said, they're doing a bad job of making me care about Alexa Bliss. Because I want to care about Alexa Bliss in this new gimmick, but instead, every single week, the fact that they're having Alexa Bliss use it on fucking Reginald, it's making me not care about this at all. It's stupid. It's stupid. And of course, Shayna gets distracted because of the fire and what happened to Reginald, and then she gets rolled up again by Natalya, and Natalya and Tamina retain the women's tag team titles. No care. I have no care for it. I don't care. There's nothing to say. Right? Give me the freaking Riot Squad versus Natalya and Tamina. I want the Riot Squad as the women's tag team champions. I've been saying that for nearly a year now. I feel like I've been saying that for a year now. Right? I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. I want Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan challenging Natalya and Tamina for the women's tag team championships. Nothing else matters to me. It's that simple. Nothing else matters. So then afterwards, of course, Shayna gets pissed at Reginald for costing her another match. And as you guys saw in the thumbnail, Shayna grabs Reginald by his stoop collar. At first, I was like, please don't tell me they're going to have Shayna make out with Reginald. Because she was really close to his face. I was like, this is weird. You have Nia Jax looking on in the background, not getting involved. So then Shayna says, I'm tired of you getting involved in my matches, right? So next week, if you have the balls, you'll face me one-on-one. So next week, we're going to get Reginald versus Shayna Baszler. So once again, Reginald is going to be having a one-on-one match in the women's division. The only time this was of any importance is when he faced Sasha, because Sasha, of course, being the best female wrestler in the world, was able to make the match decent. She was able to make the match decent and at least watchable. Remember, we got Shayna versus Tamina a couple weeks ago on Retro Smackdown, which was garbage. And then we also got now we're getting Shayna versus Reginald. The garbage continues on Monday Night Raw. The fact that that's the way you ended the show and you're trying to make us watch next week, because whatever you put on last is supposed to be almost an advertisement for next week. However the show ends is supposed to make you want to tune in next week because you want to see how the storyline continues. I have no desire to watch Reginald and Shayna. And, no matter what, it could be at the beginning of the show, the middle of the show, the end of the show. I have no care or desire to see that match. And I know you guys don't want to see that either. So, what the fuck? What the hell? And, what? Shayna should defeat Reginald in 2 seconds next week. And then probably Alexa Bliss will get involved. And it's sad that this is what we're getting. Because there's no care or desire for any of us to see it. None whatsoever. So I hate that. I hate that this is what we're getting on Monday Night Raw, guys. I really do. The fact that this was your main event, this was garbage. And it's sad. You can do good stuff like Matt Riddle and and Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston versus Drew McIntyre, right? And then all of that gets flushed down the toilet because you give us some trash like this in the main event. It's garbage and it's not worth watching. And it's said that this is what's being done with Shayna Baszler. I couldn't care less about Natalya or Tamina or Reginald and Nia Jax. It's just sad that this is the direction that Shayna Baszler gets on Monday Night Raw instead of being in the hunt for the Raw Women's Championship. So I did forget to mention AJ Styles versus Jason Riker, right? Clearly, you know, it looks like Riker and Elias are being built up to face AJ and Almas at some point for the Raw tag team titles, which is whatever. I didn't watch the match. I don't even know how this match ended. I know that AJ didn't have Almas at ringside, and I don't think Elias was at ringside for this match either. All right, so I'm looking at the YouTube clip right now. So AJ was in control, and Elias appeared. Elias hit a jumping knee on AJ at ringside, right? And then, you know, that distraction allowed Riker hit his finisher, which looked like a tilt-a-world, almost like a tilt-a-world backbreaker in a way. But he did his finisher, and he gets the win. So, you know, clearly... So clearly, you know, they're setting up Riker and Elias to challenge AJ and Almas for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I don't see AJ and Almas losing those titles. You know, this is whatever. Like I said, I have no problem with this feud happening. You know, I think Elias and Riker being in the tag team division is the best thing for them instead of having Elias and Riker as singles competitors. So this was whatever to me. Whatever. It's just more filler, right? You know, the big match used to be building towards is AJ and Almas versus Orton and Riddle at some point. That's the match we should be building towards. So after the match, right, Almas comes at ringside, and all you see is Elias hiding behind a barricade. But Almas, and this was a kind of a cool camera angle, right? You see Almas, you know, the way the camera was tilted up. So you can just see Almas slowly walk towards the barricade, and all of a sudden he looks like a giant as he hovers over the barricade to grab Elias by the head. So you see Almas running at full speed after Elias and Riker, right? So then Riker's able to get away, but Elias falls on the stage, and Riker throws Elias into the Titantron. And then Almas goes to check on his tag team partner, and that's the end of the segment. So I don't know if AJ and Almas are supposed to be baby faces now. Clearly, if they were to go up against Orton and Riddle, they would be the heel team. But if they have Almas and AJ playing tweeners here, I guess that's whatever. Like I said, this is filler for the Raw Tag Team Championship, which I don't really mind here. It's whatever to me personally. All right, so we'll see where this goes. But yeah, I'm gonna play, you know, a couple more promos here. I want to NIA JAX. I want to see what NIA JAX said about Shayna Baszler's challenge to Reginald, and we'll play Cedric's promo. And then after that, I'll look in the chat, and then we will get out of here and wrap things up for tonight's stream.
NIA, Reginald, tough loss tonight, but I want to get your reaction on Shayna Baszler challenging you to a match next week.
Right now? Are you kidding me? The emotions are really high. He's still recovering a little bit. Shayna's upset, and I understand because we lost, and nobody likes to lose. Reggie was only there to help. He cannot help what happened to him out there. I don't know what is going on, but we're still focused, okay? And we'll see what next week brings us. Let's go, Reg. Let's get out of here.
All right, that was garbage. So let's just show... Let's play Cedric's promo, and then I'll look in the chat, and then we'll get out of here.
Smile Direct Club aligners. They're laser cut for comfort to gently straighten teeth.
Cedric, a huge victory for you here tonight on Monday Night Raw, and I want to quote the announce team by saying that this victory stunned people. Do you agree with that statement?
Stunned? Whoa, I stunned people with this?
Agree with that statement. Quote the announce team by saying that this victory stunned people. Do you agree with that statement?
Stunned? Whoa, I stunned
people. Do you agree with that statement?
Stunned? Whoa, I stunned people with this win? Are you kidding me? Look at me! Prime! Alexander, there is nothing stunning about what I do in that ring. The only thing that's stunning is that Sheldon was able to last that long. That's what I say to that. That's what I say to that.
Well, what do you have to say to the detractors that say that you're
That stunning is that Sheldon was able to last that long. Nothing stunning about what I do. Are you kidding me? Look at me. Prime!
She look. Cedric has good energy, but you can't be yelling like that, like prime. Like the way I'm not gonna scream because it's late and I don't want to wake people up in my house. But look, Cedric, I see the passion, I see the intensity, I see the excitement. Just your delivery got to be a little bit better. You can't be yelling. It comes off like your voice is, cracking.
Alexander, there is nothing stunning about what I do in that ring. The only thing that's stunning is that Sheldon was able to last that long. That's what I say to that. That's what I say to that.
Well, what do you have to say to the detractors that say that your thumb was the real victor of that match?
My thumb was the victor of that match. That's what you got to say? Look at the replay. You're going to see 1, 2, 3. And then my hand raised in victory. That's what happened. That's what got me the win. That's what got me the win. Thumb. What are you talking about? Thumb didn't do anything. I did everything. What are you talking about? Got anything else? Is that all you want to say? Is that it?
That's it. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to join my prime celebration. Woo!
Look, Cedric's kind of funny, but he just got to work on that delivery. That's what you got to work on. Okay? All right. Let me look in the chat one more time before we get out of here. So this is your last chance to get your comments in before we end. You're right, NBA YouTube. If Sean and Rhea were in front of a live crowd, they would get booed out of the building. That would be funny, actually. That would be hilarious. I would sit on here and laugh my ass off. This is the opportunity, right? You get booed out of the building and you're called the opportunity. Fuck out of here. Thank you, Mr. President. That's funny. Yeah, NBA YouTube, I agree. I like seeing Sheamus beat down people, too. Casey, I did not see what Velveteen Dream said. Like I said, I haven't been... Look, I don't look at WWE news as often as I should when I'm not watching Raw or SmackDown. But let's do this live right now. Let's go find out what Velveteen Dream said. You guys get a nice organic reaction out of me right now. Let's see this. All right, so he posted a statement. All right, what he said. Oh my gosh, this is a speech. Oh my gosh, I'm not trying to read this, man. I really don't feel like reading this. I don't know. Oh my God. Look, I'll start reading it. And then if I don't care enough for it, I'll just stop. All right? This is from Velveteen Dream's Instagram. The allegations from April 20th, 2020 have effectively derailed my upward momentum I had professionally and has ultimately resulted in my termination with WWE. My name is Patrick Clark, not Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream is a character that I've spent years developing and trying to bring to life. The success of the Dream character relied heavily on kayfabe, my ability to blur Patrick Clark from Tough Enough with this over-the-top personality. Okay, the Velveteen Dream character was great for a good amount of time in NXT. It was great. I will never forget Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream. That's probably my favorite Velveteen Dream moment. From Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream, that build, that story, that match, that takeover, that was probably Velveteen Dream's most iconic moment to me. The character was made the day Prince passed, April 21st, 2016. I knew nothing about him at the time, but my thinking that I could use my interpretation of Prince to create an on-screen personality vastly different from who I am as a person So, all right. So he made Velveteen Dream was the character Velveteen Dream was based off Prince, but it's different from who he was as a person. Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, as I learned more about Prince, I began to tame certain aspects of the character, aspects that I deemed way over the top and inconsistent with who Prince was as a performer, and blah blah blah. All right, he goes, thank you to anybody who enjoyed and allowed me to be my character, whether you paid a ticket or walked up to me in Walmart. To me, addressing rumors would be working against an already compromised ability to sell a character I've invested into so heavily. So I guess, so he says that the reason why he didn't really address the rumors and allegations at first is because he didn't want it to take away from his professional work, which I feel like is stupid because that's why you have lawyers. That's why there's a legal system, right? You know, look, like the second those allegations were released, he should have took a step back from his work and then look at, all right, let me evaluate the situation and then, you know, let me take the best step for me personally. All right. The fact that he came back to work just so soon after those allegations, that was terrible. That was a terrible choice. I don't know whose choice it was. I don't know if it was him or Triple H. I don't know who it was. But he should have never came back to work after those allegations. Unless he was able to have concrete proof that those allegations were false, he should have never came back. The fact that he focused more on his professional work, like people were going to ignore the allegations that were made about him, right? And the proof that was out there. There's your first mistake. I don't feel sorry for you. You should have never came back to work, if we're being 100% honest. He should have never came back to work. Oh my gosh. Oh, now you feel comfortable to share with you the details on my accusations, right? Over a year later, now that you've been released. Look, man, I'm sorry. I'm already halfway through this. And look, And I don't like this. This sounds stupid. This sounds stupid. All right. My gosh. Here we go. All right. This is from his mouth alone. This is bonus podcast content, people. I'm not doing a separate video on this. I'm not doing a separate podcast on this. The Raw review is over. If you guys want to leave, you guys are free to go. This is just, some bonus podcast content, so I don't need to talk about this, later. So, here we go. The night of April 20th, my verified Instagram account, I posted a story to my followers letting them know that my DMs had been open. Clown. You're any WWE superstar with large followings like that. Why will you open your DMs? Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. You can do like Q&As and stuff like that, but why the hell would you open up your DMs? You don't see Sasha Banks or Roman Reigns opening up their DMs with their followings. Clown. Like you're doing a great job of making me believe your innocence, bro. I received messages, blah 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 blah. I responded to one account accused me of solicitation. The account belonged to a 17-year-old aspiring wrestler, Jacob. Before he deleted it, in the conversation, Jacob shared his interest in working as a wrestler one day and asked us what steps would be required. I messaged a short list of things he should consider if he was serious. Physique and promo to start. Okay, you don't need to explain to me. Why is he explaining to me about physique and promo? I can go on Google and search that up, man. We're here to talk about the accusations, man. No wonder why this thing is so long. It's a freaking he feels like he has to explain everything. Dude, like, if you want to talk so much, just go on a podcast and talk about this. You're writing this super long statement and half of it's a bunch of bullshit. Like, I care about you explaining what physique and promo means in the wrestling business. Screw off. Jacob explained how anxious he felt, messaging me and asked me to verify that it was really me. I found it strange because I have a blue check, but as a lifelike fan, I remember meet and greets and blah, 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 blah. I sent a voice message in my Velveteen Dream voice as to keep it kayfabe. The full voice message has me asking Jake about his height, weight, where he trained, and what school he attended. What? Yeah, you got to be careful here. You can't be asking anytime. It doesn't matter. Anytime you ask somebody about their own personal information on social media, you could be a famous actor. You could be a normal person. You're putting yourself in danger. That's why I'm very, very careful about the people I interact with my subscribers. If you guys message me on social media, there's a 50-50 chance I'll respond. I may respond and ignore you, or there's a chance I'll just flat out block you if you sound weird. Because I'm not going to put myself at risk, because people are weird on social media. I don't know why he asked about height and weight, I guess they were talking about wrestling, but still, man, that's a really weird gray area. Jacob gave a voice message in response, and we kept talking about wrestling. I'm just proofreading. I'm trying to get to the beat. I'm like, where's the big stuff we're supposed to be talking about, right? April 21st, I woke up to notifications and tags of created screenshots and videos of a conversation that I didn't have with Jacob. So clearly he's saying that Jacob faked this. Here we go. I contacted WWE's talent relations and social media departments as to begin an investigation. Even after the investigation, WWE released a statement maintaining my innocence, which WWE does as protocol to anything. They did it with Matt Riddle. They did it with Seth Rollins, right? They do this all the time when it comes to this type of stuff. WWE usually just lets the situation play out, and then, they give punishment later, right? I feel like after what happened with Enzo, where they released Enzo before they had all the information about his sexual harassment case, right? WWE just decides we're going to let, until we have more information and we know, facts, they choose not to really get involved in those things. But like I said, Velveteen Dream should have been taken off WWE TV the second those allegations were released. Why do you think everyone complains on social media that the fact that he still has a job? Why do you think so many people were angry when he appeared back on NXT? It doesn't matter how great he is. When you have allegations, that's serious against you. The best thing for WWE to say, sure, you can say, we're going to let those allegations play out, but he should have been taken off TV for the time being until they had more information and until they were confident enough to believe that he was innocent, which they didn't do. They brought him back on TV a couple weeks later, and that angered people. We're probably lucky that, it was during COVID. Imagine if he was appearing in front of live fans. That you never know. What if a fan attacked Velveteen Dream? Or, he was injured out in public? That's a PR nightmare waiting to happen. The part that hurt me was having a professional picture that I used in my personal life. On apps, or of course, because WWE superstars, right? Their professional lives becomes entangled in their personal life. Like Sasha Banks, she says this all the time. When she left in 2019 and took that 4-month break, she had to separate Sasha Banks, the character, from Mercedes Varnado because Sasha Banks had become her life. Sasha Banks had become more important than Mercedes, and she had to take a break to find that balance between real life and WWE. So I guess I can understand a little bit of what Velveteen Dream is saying here, even though, like I said, I don't feel bad for the guy, man. So until I was accused of grooming by Joshua Fuller, unlike Jacob, I know Josh. I met Josh after my stint on Tough Enough at a meet and greet. We developed a friendship through a mutual trainer. Josh shared to Twitter screenshots of the first time we communicated through text. An autographed picture from when we met, blah, blah, blah. Josh alleged that I made him feel uncomfortable, but contradicts himself twice by saying I was never sexual towards him. For those willing to research Josh's tweet accusing me, Josh's messages are in blue and mine are in gray. Josh claimed that he was a 16-year-old high school graduate and that he takes yearly trips with his friend to Orlando. I doubted what he told me, yet I keep my replies diplomatic and professional. The reality of the situation is that I was very helpful and respectful to Josh. Josh lives with his grandparents in Southern Maryland. Josh got a concussion and against my advice, insisted on wrestling. My worry came from Josh severely injuring himself, specifically his brain. I suggested he take time off from training to see a doctor. He declined because he believed he could work through the concussion, and I cut all communication with him in 2018 because I didn't want to be responsible had he worsened his injury. So to have him accuse me of petty behavior because I chose not to help was spiteful. Josh and Jacob are two of many people that I've helped, yet these are the only two who have found me to be malicious and predatory in how I go about helping others. What wasn't shared at the time. Josh reached out to Jacob over social media before Josh put out his own accusation. When this came out, Josh temporarily deleted his Twitter account, which is important because in all the social media confusion, Josh is the only one who suggested that an investigation had not been done and had not been contacted. Jacob deleted his social media after he was outed for being a member of an anti-black group chat. There is a public forum where people are bullying, selling, and sharing explicit photos and videos of multiple wrestlers, and no one has done anything to have this site taken down. All in all, this entire experience deframed my character and ultimately accomplished what it set out to do, and that was to see me release. My hope is that over time, people can put two and two together and realize that all the allegations surrounding me were baseless and untrue from the jump. I felt strongly about not needing to defend myself on social media for a while now, but I understand the audience I work for and those who know me deserve clarity. I'm thankful for the opportunities afforded to me and the memories I have as a receipt. God has always had me and he always will. Dream is officially over, but Patrick Clark lives to fight another day. Look. The allegations are what they are, right? Patrick, WWE should have took Velveteen Dream off the road, off the TV the second that they got these allegations, and he shouldn't have returned. It's that simple, right? And also, WWE Patrick Clark, because he's no longer Velveteen Dream, right? He messed up because I don't care what's true or what not. He should have responded to those allegations from the jump. From the jump. He waited all this time to finally give a response, and now look where he is. Now you're without a job. A super talented guy without a job. You know, I just hope that people learn from this and make better decisions. I don't know, what happens to him, but now this is going to follow him for the rest of his life. I don't know what he does from here. I don't know if he'll get hired from another company. I don't know what he does. But hopefully he learns from his past actions and he searches out, hopefully he goes to be or tries to be a better person. All right. But at the end of the day, what's done is done. It's simple. What's done is done. I don't have much else to say about the guy. I wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors. But what's done is done. That's it. That was my thoughts on it. I know, right? I read all of that nonsense just for a 30-second reaction. I don't have much to say about it. I don't. It's just like there's so much information in there, and it's just like, I understand you're trying to explain yourself, but his explanation, it just doesn't make sense to me, really. Why do you spend so much time talking about stuff that has nothing to do with the situation? It just doesn't make sense to me, man. He should have from the start, man, WWE should have took him off the road and not have him return on NXT television till they had proof that, he was innocent. Velveteen Dream shouldn't have waited a year to make a response. You work for WWE. No matter where you go, people are going to ask questions. People are going to ask questions. And the fact that he waited so long to respond, he waited till he got fired to respond, that's on you. That's on you. Because the fact that you didn't respond to those allegations, right? You didn't have a lawyer or somebody speak up for you, makes you look more guilty. Like you were waiting to come up with some BS response to, response to the allegations. Like you didn't know what to say. Because either the allegations were true or, you were just looking for a way out. Somehow to make us all forget about what you did. It's that simple. Right? Look. I wish him the best. I hope he becomes a better person, right? For other superstars, don't be stupid. Be good to one another. Sexual harassment and all this other stuff is disgusting. You are legit scum of the earth if you do that. It should be innocent until proven guilty. But if you end up doing that kind of stuff, man, really, go look in the mirror and be ashamed of yourself. Honestly. There's no reason why you should be involved in that kind of nonsense to begin with. That's my stance on it. All right? But I wish him the best of luck in his future. Hopefully he becomes a better person. And let this be a lesson to wrestlers and people everywhere. Don't be stupid, guys. All right? But that's my thoughts on that. So there you go, Casey. I hope you got the response you were hoping for. All right? But, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I just want to say this one thing. Shinsuke Nakamura and what was the name of the guitarist on SmackDown this Friday? I think it was Bangs, or that was his name. That was some good stuff. That reminded me of the old Shinsuke Nakamura when he was booked properly. I really hope Shinsuke is getting a push, man. I really hope this is just for a couple, I really hope this is not for a couple of weeks, man. Because, man, I love Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm happy that he's the babyface again. I'm glad that he's trying to bring back that strong style, And I love Pat McAfee freaking, geeking out to Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance being played. But what was his name? Let me find the name real quick. The Bogues. That's his name? Rick Boogs? Either way, man, that was some great stuff. Pat McAfee being organic in that segment, man, and him air guitaring at ringside. I also love when, Pat McAfee gets excited, he stands up while commentating. Pat McAfee is easily the best commentator in WWE right now. We need more commentators like him. While you have clowns like Byron Saxton and what's his name? Adrian Vink, whatever his name is, right? Adrian Vink on Raw tonight. He asked Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, "Oh, what was Kofi Mania like? Was it really as great as everyone says it is?" Clown. You have Kofi Kingston over here in contention for the WWE Championship, the most valuable prize in all sports entertainment, and you don't even know Kofi's backstory? You're over here on live TV asking, "Oh, how great was Kofi Mania?" Oh, I wasn't there for it. I have no knowledge of it. I'm just here because I have connections in the company. I was like, really? We need people like Pat McAfee. We need more Pat McAfees on commentary in WWE, bro. I want to play this clip real quick before we get out of here.
All of you, the heat list.
This is great. Look at Pat McAfee, bro.
What the hell is this? Who the hell are you? Who am I? I'm Rick Boogs.
Rick
B-O-O-G-S. And I came to rock with the real king of SmackDown, Shinsuke Nakamura. Thank you, Boogs.
Thank you, Boom. I love it.
What a treat this is.
And he plays the guitar solo. This is beautiful. I love it. And I don't know if this is WWE bringing back the King of the Ring tournament, but still, man, I love this Nakamura. I really hope this leads to Nakamura getting a push. Oh, and Pat McAfee freaking air guitaring on Michael Cole at ringside.
This is incredible. The best thing to ever happen to WWE. And we've got a match too. Corbin and Nakamura.
I love it.
And we've got a match.
I love it. I love it. Woo! I kind of had to geek out there for a second, guys. Great stuff. You know, I just had to mention that because we didn't do the SmackDown review. So, Aleister Black's return, great. Hopefully he's booked correctly going forward. Shinsuke Nakamura, back as the King of Strong Style. Fantastic. Love what they did there with Rick Boogs. Shinsuke Nakamura. Ah! Roman Reigns, of course, is fantastic. I'm hyped for the Usos versus the Street Profits this week, even though that's a pay-per-view level match that should be happening for the tag team titles. That's a WrestleMania-worthy tag team match, if you ask me. But I'm still excited to see it. We'll see what happens with Bayley and Bianca, right? And, yeah. So that's my thoughts on what's going on in SmackDown. Oh, yeah. Plus, that Fatal 4-Way with KO, Biggie, Sami Zayn, and Apollo Crews was fantastic. That was a pay-per-view level Fatal 4-Way match. That was great. That was great. And if Biggie's going on the feud with Aleister Black, I have no problem with you continuing KO versus Apollo. No problem. You know, I that's what you should be doing. So I just wanted to mention that stuff from SmackDown really quick. But other than that, guys, I don't see anything else in the chat. You know, I'm going to end the stream here, right? We're almost at 2 hours. We have not had a 2-hour stream in a while. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell right next to my name, FitzMonkTV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Follow me down on social media. The links are in the description down below. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me. As always, I'll be back later this week with some more wrestling content. Hopefully, we'll have a SmackDown review this week. Hopefully. No promises, but that is the plan right now. Thank you guys for always. Go check out all the other videos on my channel, from wrestling to anime, you know, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys later. You guys stay safe and healthy. Have a great night, guys. Peace.